It's not about doing what they want. It's being able to translate your ideas in a way that they understand so that you can get the work that you want done and they get the work they're psyched about and the client gets it. It's Monday. You're getting a week started. I'm going to share hopefully something that can help you where you're at today or one day of these 7 days as a creative, a creator, or entrepreneur on this week's episode of Casual Mondays. Casual Mondays, I think I call it Casual Mondays because in our career, we could live casually, but what we do, we take it very seriously. And I think that tension and irony is really interesting. But again, I'm going to take this time to answer a comment from one of my videos. Please comment, ask questions. I want to make sure you're getting what you need. If me and Daniel are going to put this time in, we want to help. It's really simple. Can you talk about keeping the team motivated or guiding young creatives towards a common goal? Expectations, 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 expectations. So, as a creative, doing great creative is part of your job as you start to become more senior. And what I mean by that is early in your career, you're responsible to do great creative through your own craft, being guided by someone else. But as you excel in your career, what get introduced? You start talking directly to clients, you start managing other creatives, and you start managing up possibly to the founder or the CEO or CCO of the company, right? So certain skills come into play, and that is the skill of understanding and translating expectations from multiple different directions. It's like flying through an asteroid storm, right? Like as a creative, it's not just like, oh, I'm super inspired. I'm going to go off and I'm just going to like put on my favorite track, put my headphones on and zone out and create. Here's the time where you need to clearly understand A, what your client's asking you to do, and B, how you're going to get your team to get to that place. And the place isn't linear, right? Because your client is kind of giving you this thing called a brief, which is kind of like rough and rugged, and they might have some expectations of what they expect. So you're trying to translate it into a brief. So getting something written is super important, and having a brief that is clear to you, right? And what you need from that person that is regularly used. This should not be a start over. This is a rinse and repeat, right? Please fill this out, what your expectations are. Then that same brief maybe gets digested, and that could either be the same thing you share with your team or another version share with your team, depending on where your team is and how they do it. So a brief, if you really translate what a brief is, the tool of a brief is translating expectations and getting in one place. Unfortunately, life happens, the world happens, people are people. Let's put this rule in the world. People are people, which means you agree with your client on this brief, on their expectations, you put into this brief, you all agree on it, and along the way, the client sees something's cool. A week into the project, your team is working off that brief. They DM you, send you an email of, oh my God, this is so cool. And it's completely contrary to what's in the brief. That's kind of like life as a creative entrepreneur working in the creative industry. But let's stay to a clean, perfect, you get the clear expectations from your client, and you have a brief template that's rinse and repeat to get it. And now you make a brief for your like how to brief your creatives. And yes, I think you need like a general brief for all your creatives, but you need to know your creatives, right? You need to know your team. You need to know how they work and how to translate those expectations in a way to inspire them to do their best work, right? So first and foremost, what are your principles for great work, right? So my principles outside of a brief, my expectations as Harry, right, used to be insight, innovation, and craft. Those are my principles that I used to live by. So besides this brief of expectations of selling it, all my team knew is I needed these. When you presented to me, what made me think the work was good, because sometimes you're like, oh my God, these creatives they're presenting me this work. It's not good. Obviously, they're presenting to you, they think it's good. So there's a miscommunication because if you're creative presenting to your senior person something bad, then you, obviously you need to figure something out. You're in the wrong job or you're doing the wrong career. But you're working to come up with this amazing idea. You're sharing you're sharing it with your creative director or CCO or founder, and they're like, "Eh, well," like, what is this?
That onion and onion and ketchup. It stinks. Okay, now the tuxedos seem kind of fucked up.
So there's some miscommunication. So for me, let me take you through insight, why you're doing it, innovation, do it different, craft, it has to be well crafted. Like that was it. So people knew besides this brief, when they were presenting something to me, it was done, Harry, here's how this has been done before, but we're going to do it differently like this. Oh, that's cool. I'm interested. Why are you doing it? Oh, people right now, there's a social behavior of doing this. Oh, wow, I get it. Like, cool. And craft, we're going to make it look like this. Great. This idea is amazing. Versus someone coming and be like, oh, Harry, I have this really good idea. Oh, cool. I don't get the idea. What do you mean it's a good idea? The idea is really clear. I don't get like how are you expressing an idea to me, right? So having a clear expectations of what you again, whether you like it or not, your CCO, your founder, your lead creative, like the they are the vehicle in which you're getting your work to the client and getting your work done. So it's not about doing what they want. It's being able to translate your ideas in a way that they understand so that you can get the work that you want done and they get the work they're psyched about and the client gets it. So first and foremost, clarity of expectations through a clean brief addresses how, obviously insights and strategy, but also clear deliverables, clear timelines. We're all kind of like we're on the same boat, but where the boat is going has to be your principles as a leader, creator, and founder. And if you don't have those principles and then people give you work you don't get, I'm sorry, it's kind of your fault. We love to be like, oh, those creatives, they're so hard to work with. Oh, those creators, they're so hard to work with. Like, yeah, guess what? Like, they're creative. They're not, creativity is not literal. So, like, you're asking someone to translate an abstract thing of an idea into a literal form. You need to create common language. Common language is the principles and expectations you have on how to express that. And that can come through the templates, the brief, and the way that you share ideas. So, unfortunately, sometimes it takes more work on your half to get great work, right? So again, I've talked about it before in the past. If you are saying to yourself right now, it's easier to do it yourself, what are you doing yourself? It might not be the work. It might be defining your values, defining your principles as creative clearly and expressing your team and having them do more work that falls under that so you get better work to your client. So I can go through, I kind of spoke about this abstractly, but like, again, this all came to life through, again, when there was 10 of us, we were all kind of, there was this like, 10 people on a team. It's like, you're kind of like, everyone's hands is like, you can kind of create and symbiotically understand what's going on. You get up to 20, 25, 30 people, there has to be clarity between your expectations as a person, as the leader, as the founder, as the creative director of what you want the work to be. And that's not only from the creatives, that's from the strategists, that's from the production team, that's from the account people. Like everyone needs to be kind of working together. And then when you bring in external people, right, there has to be something to introduce to them, whether they're going to read it or not, on a document that says, here's welcome to Bright Colors. We believe in creativity and kindness. Our principles are purpose, collaboration, and unique creativity and innovation, right? Oh, wow. Okay. I get the place I'm working for. Here's some examples of work that we're proud of, right? Well, okay. Wow. That's cool. Now I get it. Okay. This is how it is. Here's the brief that we want. Here's a creative template we use to kind of share our ideas. It's a one-page template where we share an idea with the visual, a title, a subtitle, a paragraph, and 4 bullet points. Can you please present your ideas like that? Great. Okay, cool. So now we have a working system and that person can run that system. That same system needs to apply to the client. Again, we're trying to translate what our client's saying into a system that can be worked with our team. So you need to get into that client's understanding of what their successes and what their goals are, but you need to translate that into a system that works with your team. As amazing as you land on this process, and again, that's the time of building a business and not just like doing work as a freelancer, but building a real studio for me is about having a point of view of not only what the work is, but how the work is done. If you, again, reach out, questions, again, if you want a one-on-one, but finding out how you create work is really important, and I hope this is helpful. Peace.